Greetings everyone, in the name of His Majesty, Eli, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. We're here, Shelter Studio, the Tuscany, and the one and only Black Skull, aka Wingless Angel. And having some questions for the people that would like to know what's been going on for the past years and what he's been doing, and have some questions that want answered for the people. And this man has done a great many works, some known, some unknown. So taking this moment out to let the people them know up close and personal what's going on. So Skull.
Yes, sir.
Yes, King man.
Enough respect.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So how do
I man feel irie, really nice. It's good to be in the studio, Shelter Rock studio. Yeah, do enough works in the studio. Eye and the eye.
Enough works. So, starting off, I got some things here I want to ask the eye.
See?
When did you first notice your talents?
When, at the age of 10-year-old, as a young man running around in the jungle of Jamaica, I started to listen to a lot of music, what we call rock steady.
Yes,
and
sir.
Ska.
Uh-huh.
And it just gave me the urge to tap into the sound that I was hearing. I says, I got to play this music. So eventually I started to write a few little words here and there. And then there was a sardine tin that I used to make my guitar from with the fish line that I fishing with in the ocean.
Uh-huh.
That was my first instrument I made, was a little guitar. And from there I started to get the urge of doing the music.
I see. Original.
Mm-hmm.
No factory. What were you when you started writing songs?
I started to write songs at an early age, developing all of that know-how, knowledge from listening to different artists in those old days, people like the Paragons, Stranger Cole, the same Gregory Isaac, and many artists that, Justin Hines Dominoes. I started to get the urge to put out my own product, which I find was very fascinating to me.
Irie. This song we're hearing in the background is called Black Slavery Days. Give us an info about that tune here. It's a classic, been out for a long time, and people around the world know this tune. So get a in depth about this tune, yeah.
This particular song, soundtrack Black Slavery Days, came to me one evening when I was at Jack Ruby's yard hanging out, and I hear the song start to play about I was singing this song named Black Slavery Days, and he said to me, why am I using so much Black Slavery Days in the song? I said to him, well, to the culture of the people that we were brought from Africa as slaves on slave ships, and we have like chains around our feet, man, like Sir Francis Drake and all those people that I read about in the history book while I was in school. It just gave me the urge to write this song, and when it came out, I knew this song was going to be a big hit.
Yes, sir. Yeah, me get a lighter for that. Oh, yeah.
No flames.
Yeah, man. Who are the musicians that played on your first album?
The musician on my first album was Sly and Robbie. Then I have like Leroy Horsmouth was the original drummer on this particular song.
Yes, sir.
Donovan, who is playing bass, he lives in England right now. And the horn section was the Black Disciples, who end up touring with the guy Burning Spear. All that horn section you hear playing, I used to be with those guys as the original artists that used to play on all of my albums.
Okay. Which artist inspired you the most?
The most artist that inspired I was Bob Marley was my original inspiration because I like the way he writes. He writes songs almost like the way I do. Peter Tosh was another one that influenced me. Stranger Cole, Gregory Isaac. These are the type of artists that really inspired me to really put my thoughts in a more higher realms to start writing real good reggae music. At the time, I didn't even call it reggae music. I used to call the music that I used to play, I used to call it jungle music. Because it sounds like you're coming out of the jungle.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, when I used to be in the courthouse doing my songs, the judge used to come to me and says, what kind of music is that you're playing? And I says to the judge, I says, they call it jungle music. I call it the jungle music.
Yes, sir.
And he
Beating
says,
the drum.
I love that music because it helps me so much to finish my work.
Yes, sir.
And that really inspired me for a judge to come and tell me, well, he loves my music.
Yes, sir. Respect. Who was supposed to do the documentary on His Majesty?
I have a friend named Rasaya Kula. He owns a place in Jamaica called the Windsor Lawn, which I spent a lot of time putting together for him. I met some musical people from Europe wanted to do a documentary on His Imperial Majesty, and they came and told me that since I used to work for Warner Brothers and I have certain inspiration towards movie, they would like to have me to come and work for them. I've been waiting for the longest time, over 7 years period, and Kula has never come to fulfill the agreement that was made. I ran into Kula, called me a few times and tell me that he wants to talk to me towards the documentary that these people that I met in Jamaica years ago. And I'm still waiting and I still can't hear anything. I would appreciate he try and see if he can get in touch with me because I'm living in New York City. So it's easy to find me.
Right. Who is Jack Ruby? I know you did some work with him in your early days.
Jack Ruby is a very pioneering youth who used to have a big set that everybody loves, the set that Jack Ruby used to play out in all the clubs and the dance hall. And I spent a lot of time around Jack Ruby, driving him to the studio. In those days, Burning Spear was just breaking out. Because I know Chris Blackwell for many years, and he would come to the house and tell Jack, you know, this song is great. I want you to put these songs out for this guy named Burning Spear. At the same time, Chris Blackwell said to him, there's this guy that I see here, you know, he has a voice, so why don't you do something with him? After that, you know, Jack Ruby just ignored all of my aspect, and after that, he ended up just pirating my music without me knowing. And when I came to America, one of my dearest friends, which is TUSKANI, here in Shelter Rock Studio, outlined a lot of things to me, showing me they're pirating your music, and people is even putting on their name saying they are the owner for your songs. And he was the one who really opened my eyes to the computer and to tell me what's going on. And that's how I learned that, you know, this is one of the man who was pirating one of my music, one of my album, Black Slavery Days.
Yes, sir. Give thanks, man. It's been an honor since meeting him, man, years, and we've done plenty works and
plenty work.
Do enough shows and made some links to other people in the industry and just keeping it moving forward in Johnny, you know?
Yes, I.
Which artists did you spend a lot of time with coming up?
I spent a lot of time with a very international icon, I would call him. His name is Justin Hines and the Dominoes.
I've heard of him.
I spent a lot of years around him, and Bob Marley was the only artist at the time that's ever mentioned Justin Hines' name in his mouth. He said, here's a little man in Steertown, St. Anne, who is going to be the next superstar. I remember hearing Bob says that. And Bob Marley is a very influential artist, plus another guy that I can't even recall his name right now, but as I'm talking to the Shelter Rock producer here, TUSKANI, his name is Peter Tosh. Peter Tosh was like a brother to me, dear, because we spent a lot of time on the beach in St. Anne, you know, smoking our weed, reasoning about music, hanging out. And when I came to New York and met Peter Tosh, it was such an honor because we hung out at the Reggae Lounge and we get to know each other much better. Okay. And when I heard that he passed away, I was so caught up, you know, because these are the people who should be alive today. I love these dudes.
Yeah, man, definitely influence. Definitely influence. I man, same. Who is when did you meet Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones?
Oh, that's another ball game. I met Keith Richards, I think it was 1979, at the Arawak Hotel in Ocho Rios, going towards St. Anne's Bay. At the time, the hotel was the Arawak Hotel. That was way back. So I was at the bar having a cocktail, and he came up to me and says, "You're an artist?" I says, "Yes." And I said, "Who are you?" And he looked at me with this strange look, like, you know, he didn't say much. So I turned to him and I says, "You look like a very famous person I see in the magazine, the Rolling Stones." And he smiled right away and he says, "My name is Keith." I said, "Keith who?" He said, "Keith Richards. I'm the lead guitarist from the Rolling Stones." That's when we became friends, and I spent a lot of time hanging out with Keith Richards. We end up doing this album, you know, this
the Wingless Angels
Wingless
album.
Angel album that is out on YouTube, Facebook, and we lost 3 of the members after we finished the recording. We haven't seen Keith after the album was finished, so I flew to New York to try to see if I can get in touch with Mr. Richards. Each time I stopped by his studio in Manhattan, I was turned away, and I am in the process of taking legal action against, you know, the work that was done for Mr. Richards.
Didn't you guys were nominated for a Grammy in 2012?
Well, when I look on the TV one day, I saw where they had a news. And
I saw it in the magazine myself.
And they said to me, I said, it says state that the Wingless Angels are up for a Grammy. And I was so excited. I said, "Oh my God, we're going to
Yes,
get
sir.
famous now, you know, because if you're up for Grammy, you know, your hopes are built up."
Yeah, man, you don't know.
And the world didn't know that I was in New York at the same time when this announcements was going on. And we saw it even in the magazines, as TUSKANI says. So I am very hurt and cut up to know that I spent time raising his son Marlon and his daughter that got arrested in Manhattan a few years ago for marijuana. I raised that little girl. I teach her to walk. I teach her a lot of things. So for Mr. Richard to treat us like this, it really cuts me in the wrong area as a Rasta man.
Yes, sir.
I'm a Rasta man. I'm not just a little dibby rope-a-ped Rasta. I'm a Rasta man. So I must deal with I in the right way that we can get some recompense from the work that was done.
Yes, sir.
And if I don't hear from Mr. Richards, I'm going to take legal action in suing.
Well, I don't think he wants to.
Get my part of my share of what is due to me, you know.
Yes, sir.
So at the end of this little, you know, conversation, if he's anywhere out there, or his entourage, or his people who is working for him, management, I want to let you know that I am one of the remaining Wingless Angels.
Yes,
who
sir.
worked with Keith Richards all the years on the album.
Nah, Bingy drums.
You know, taking care of Anita, Pattenberg, kids, and lots of his friends, them who know me, people like Joe Cocker, you know, Dan Aykroyd, and all these actors that used to be around me in Jamaica. So we give thanks unto His Majesty Rastafari.
Who is Chiniranders? Or Chinirandis, as I should say.
Chinirandis is a set of Chinese people who used to own a recording studio down in Kingston, a place named Parade. That's where people like Gregory Isaac, Stranger Cole, Slim Simit, and the list goes on of international artists brought up right inside that place. She moved to New York and she started to sponsor all the reggae artists, them, touring them all over the world. People like even Luciana, Lady Saw right now, who had left from their scenery because of financial problems. So Chin Randy's is a studio that, you know, send a lot of artists all over the world, and at the same time they are robbing a lot of the artists. My album was end up in Chin Randy's record shop on Jamaica Avenue there in Brooklyn. When I saw them, I ran into Clement Dad at the time, who was alive, and he said to me, who are you? I said, my name is Black Skull. I did the album Black Slavery Days, you know, and you guys pirated my music and bringing it up here with Jack Ruby and the rest of them and making money. I'm the owner. I'm the guy you hear on the lead singing of the Black Slavery Days and Third World and those songs along there. And I want to make it clear that on the album, we have Burning Spear Brother, which is Elias Rodney, who is on that album and don't get no recognition. All those other artists, you know. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to take legal action again against Chin Randy's for pirating my music and selling my music. And I have a message from Miss Chin. I have evidence and proof that you were selling my album when I came to New York years ago. So I am also going to be in the process of suing your record shop and your associates them for selling my music behind my back and making tons of money. I got evidence of that.
That day alone is a whole nother big session, and you know, hopefully man will give the respect due to the IAN for the works you've done, you know what I'm saying, and give you what's owed to you, and let the rest of the world hear some of your works, old and new, upcoming. So what is the name you sang under?
The name that I sang under was, while writing all of my hit songs at the time and be around a lot of, you know, international artists, I see a lot of people with skulls, and I used to see a lot of skulls being piled up like in Africa where they kill our foreparents and all that type of stuff. And it just hit me. I says, I want to get myself a singing name. So I named myself Black Skull.
Yes, sir.
The Black Skull was a very strong name because the skull represents each and every one of us who has a skull head. Right. You know, that's where life comes from and exists. Without a head, you don't have no life. Okay? And then after that, the Wingless Angel was attached to it, that was given to I by the same Keith Richards from the Rolling Stone. On the Naya Bingy album. The Naya Bingy album, he says he's going to name us the Wingless Angel. And at times we'd even joke around that two of the angels flew away, you know? Yes, sir. But I know the whole, you know, the whole concept of how all of that was put together, you know?
I hear you. What gives you the urge to choose music, to write the music that you write, you know, from your experiences, from history experiences, and from your brother man's experiences, you know?
As a child, I used to love to hum, you know, and I just like to hum, because when I hear people singing, it makes me feel good, especially the older people in the Bibles who used to sing beautiful chants, you know? Yes, sir. And it gives me the inspiration.
The hymns.
Yeah, to go into these hymns and write beautiful lyrics that when you write these lyrics and the people hear the lyrics, it has a meaning and an understanding of what, you know, the song is going about. I get that inspiration just because I love music. I love the music so much that every time I look at something, and I don't write songs on papers like a lot of people do. I write songs in my head. Whatever I see as I go along the way, that's what I wrote about. So Shelter Rock Studio is a studio that me and this virgin TUSKANI, which put out beautiful lovers rock song. If you check his whole history of the time I've been around him, we write together some beautiful songs, beautiful, gorgeous songs, like, you know.
You don't know.
Oh my God, if you listen to
The Girl Is Mine.
The Girl Is Mine. We have like
His Majesty.
Oh God. And we have another one where the call is oh my God, we did this one named Chaos Gangster. That's one of the wickedest songs. We want you guys to get to know one of these fine time, because you're talking about gangster. You want to hear the song.
Not too much
Chaos
fire, man.
Gangster. Yeah. And the list goes on. We do lots of songs. The Girl Is Mine is one of my favorite, because I know it's going to be a hit. Because I know a lot of you folks out there have all of the lovers quarrel rock thing.
Let's blow Argentina massive.
Yeah. And
great productions.
We'll get to it. So TUSKANI and I in a Shelter Rock studio right now, and you know, we just collaborate on a nice little, you know, get together of reasoning. I want to big up all of my Rasta brethren them in St. Croix, you know, because I know want to go and see I early. You want a day, come do some shows for the eye them, you know, and thing, and enough respect to the brethren, you know, TUSKANI. I want to make sure to take care of him when he come home, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Rastafari.
Respect. Yeah. Well, y'all got a little up close and personal with the one and only Black Skull, Wingless Angels, and if look the eye up, Dr. Skull on Facebook, you could check the man on YouTube, and if you type up Black Slavery Days, you know what I'm talking about on YouTube. The works will speak for itself.
Yes, the works will, because we have lots of work. Me and this man I do 6 months worth of albums and singles in the same studio. You know, see?
Yes, sir.
So we have more work for do, enough more work. And as much as you see we inside here talk,
more work for
we have lots of work for do, because no one can write like me and this man. We just look on each other and say roll, and we just start to sing, and it's a hit. Because I love to write hit songs.
Yes, sir.
My name Black Skull. See that? That's my logo. Me. See them there? My name Black Skull. When you see me, we're ready for the world. Any one of the promoters them out there were seeing this video will know that we need people all over the world to sponsor us, so we can put on some wicked shows for Hunu that we will never see before. You know, it's unusual. You know, it's Rasta music. It's Rasta music, you know, and we have His Majesty who bless us every day to write hit songs. I love to write hit songs.
Liberty.
You know, and live. You know, Rasta must live nice and loving.
Amongst each other.
I just want to send all these beautiful greetings out to all of the lion them in the world, wherever you may be. Just tune into Shelter Rock Studio, because you know we have enough niceness for the idea.
And don't forget to check them out on Facebook and YouTube. The man there, more vibes will come. Link them up for tour. You know what I'm saying? Original Black Skull.
Yeah, man.
Out.
We out, Rasta.